All right. And in another, Friday night fixture, we head straight to France in Ligue 1. You understand? That's how the French pronounce it, Ligue 1. As, English speaking people, we say Ligue 1, but the French pronounce it as Ligue 1, right? So, Ligue 1, we saw a clash between AS Monaco, right, against PSG. So, Kylian Mbappe returning to his former hunting ground, and yeah, man, give credit to AS Monaco, the home side, because they held their guns and, in a pulsating draw against Paris Saint-Germain, right? So despite, the fact that they carved out a host of opportunities and they were actually the better side in the first half. AS Monaco, they basically just had to settle for a goalless draw against the mighty Paris Saint-Germain at the Stade Louis, And what I can actually say, this particular encounter, you would actually expect the fact that PSG would dominate, but remember the fact that they are the runaway leaders. So basically, I wasn't really surprised when they didn't even give it their best shot. And remember, they still have a Champions League game, to actually, play this coming week against Real Sociedad in San Sebastian in Spain, the return leg. And they hold a 2-goal advantage going into the second leg against Real Sociedad. So, picking an attacking league geared side for his, for this particular colossal clash. This decision immediately paid off, by Adi Hutter, the coach of AS Monaco. And we saw what we saw basically in this particular encounter is the fact that, AS Monaco, right, they began the match in fine fashion. You understand? They were the team that was more intentional from the first whistle going onwards. You look at the fact that, kicking things off, with a decent look from Folarin Balogun, before Takumi Minamino, unleashed a long-range blast. This set the tone nicely for their positive first half. And with that particular moment, we saw the game settling into a pattern of PSG dominating possession as expected. And, they were looking extremely dangerous, whenever they attacked. And the chances continued to come for AS Monaco as Wissam Ben Yedder, Alexander Golovin, Magnus Akluche, as well as Kosum Autara, came close in the opening period. And Monaco also do deserve the credit, to say the least, for defending in a diligent and organized manner, which actually helped them to keep PSG at bay, with them impressively, restricting the star-studded opponents to just 3 touches inside the box in the opening 45 minutes. Incredible. So literally, PSG only had 3 touches in Monaco's box in the opening 45 minutes. Maybe it does explain the reason why Kylian Mbappe was replaced, I guess. But eager to actually stamp their mark on the contest, going forward. PSG came out, in the second stanza full of gusto, even though Kylian Mbappe was taken off at the break. And, for that, they were able to, quickly put Monaco back on the back foot, right? But then, you could never underestimate Monaco, because Monaco, right, they still pose the threat going forward, and Ben Yedder and his fellow frontmen were asking regular questions of the PSG backline. We saw rather slow, Majeki, as well as, crucially carried his excellent form by producing some handy stops to deny Lucas Beraldo as well as Bradley Barcola, with the latter especially eye-catching to keep out the young talent strike. And we saw the Polish shot stopper, then flexed his muscles again to deny Vitinha's powerful hit. And it is needless to say that, although both teams tried and, they were very tired, quality chances were actually hard to come by, in the closing stages. We saw Guillermo Maripan, notably wasn't far off with a header in stoppage time, but the game ended in a draw, on a night where both teams enjoyed periods of superiority and Monaco kept a much needed clean sheet. So basically big ups to them, because look at Monaco, you look at the fact that by numbers, the fact that Monaco actually held the ascendancy in terms of expected goals, big chances created, shots inside the box, interceptions, and tackles won. It underlined what a force they are to be reckoned with, right? And, following this particular encounter, Monaco will now turn their attention to their next fixture versus Strasbourg, right, next weekend, and where a win is a must, to actually maintain their momentum in the Champions League qualification push for next season. So, give credit to Monaco, kudos goes to them, because they really put up a great shift, right? A great performance it was from them. Okay, so we continue with Ligue 1, right? So, Stade Reims nil, Lille 1. So, remember Lille used to be one of remember the thing is with Lille used to be a formidable opponent back in the days. You know, they used to really challenge, for top honors, whether it was domestically or in Europe. But it seems like it's a team that has literally, the standard has seemed to drop a bit, but hopefully they can get the standard up once again, because you look at this particular encounter once again. It was a closely fought game, to say the least, and a minor error from the Stade de Reims, resulted in a sole goal of the match, which actually secured a 1-0 victory for the away side Lille, and on a Saturday at the Stade Auguste, Delouan, the second stadium, right? So remember, in English you say it's a stadium, in French or Spanish or Portuguese it's stade. Okay, no, in French it's stade, in Spanish it's estadio, and then in English it's stadium. Yeah, sharp. So the first half was a scoreless affair between both the sides, right? And Reims, had 2 total shots, right? While Lille only had 5 total shots, in the first half. Although, neither side, could actually break the deadlock before before the conclusion of the first 45. And in the second half, the roles were basically reversed, to say the least. And what we could actually say is that, Reims, had 6 total shots, right? And Lille only had 3 total shots. So as both teams searched for a goal, to actually secure all 3 points, it was just a matter of the fact that the Los Doggers, seized the opportunity when Yunus, Abdel Hamid, made a mistake, and the veteran defender's errant pass, to his goalkeeper opened the door for Jonathan David to sweep in and, intercept the ball and score in the 56th minute of the game. Even, with more than 30 minutes to score the equalizer, Abdelmad's error, actually proved costly, as David's goal ended up, being the only goal of the game, securing all 3 points for the away side Lille. So, Paulo Fonseca, right, and his team's win have positioned them well in the battle for the UEFA Champions League next season. And what I'm saying for UEFA Champions League contention next season. And currently, Lille are on 41 points. They're just trailing, Stade Brestois by 43, who are by only 2 points, who only have 43 points. And, if Brest loses against Le Havre, on Sunday, Lille will have an opportunity to leapfrog them next weekend. So Lille have actually put the league on hold as they shift. Lille will have to put the league on hold as they shift their focus to the UEFA Conference League. And the first leg of the round of 16 tie against Austrian side, Sturm Graz on Thursday at the Mercure Arena, and then you look at their opponents, Reims, this defeat actually moves them further from a chance, at European competition. So Will still, as well as his team, must have a bounce-back performance next weekend, as they will travel to the Parc des Princes to actually face, Paris Saint-Germain, who are basically the runaway leaders, to say the least. And you wonder which team is actually going to catch them. You wonder, Paris Saint-Germain. Wow. Another 5-star performance from the Olympians. I'm talking about Olympique Marseille. So, Clement Foot 1, Olympique Marseille 5. That was basically another 5-star performance from the Olympians. So, Olympique Marseille, won their third, straight game, in all competitions under their new manager, the former Côte d'Ivoire, head coach Jean-Louis Gasset, in a 5-1 road victory over Clement Foot on Saturday night, at the Stade Gabriel Montpid. So Marseille, had the upper hand. They basically had the upper hand in the first 45 minutes over Clement Foot. With the total of 8 shots, incredible. And Olympique Marseille, asserted their offensive prowess, and, we saw Liman Ndiaye, broke the deadlock in the 23rd minute of the game, marking his second consecutive match with a goal. And we saw Olympique Marseille, held a narrow 1-0 advantage going into the halftime break, but their lead evaporated early in the second half because we saw Clement Foot, emerge with determination after the break. And their efforts paid off, when, Belal Boutouba, found the net in the 53rd minute of the game, leveling the scores, right, at 1-1. So from that particular moment in time, we saw the home side, they actually snatched momentum from Gasset and his team. But Marseille would quickly respond. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, gave the away side, the lead 6 minutes after Clement scored, making it his third straight game with a goal in all competitions. And for Marseille, conceding a goal was a lesson learned and served as a valuable wake-up call and further solidified their position. Building a 3-1 lead as Jonathan Klaus, scored for the Les Pochins in the 67th minute of the game. With the outcome already determined, we saw Marseille, added another goal thanks to Luis Enrique, who scored his first ever Ligue 1 goal as the Brazilian loan's previous goal, with Olympique Marseille came in the Coupe de France. So, like I said, the scoring didn't just stop there. And we saw Faris Mombagna, added a fifth for the loop-sided side, for the loop-sided win. And let me just say this, Olympique Marseille now will have to just turn their attention to the UEFA Europa League and their first leg of their round of 16 encounter against Spanish side Villarreal, on Thursday night at the Stadio Velodrome. And Clement Foot, continue to occupy the bottom position and now face a pivotal away fixture against FC Metz, at the Stadio Saint Symphorien next week. And a victory for Clement Foot would actually inject some much-needed optimism in their fight against relegation. While a defeat against Metz would significantly, diminish their prospects of staying in Ligue 1. Right. So in Ligue 1 action, at the Parc des Princes between PSG and Stade Reims, right? So again, the score resulted in a 2-2 draw in this particular encounter. And what is worth noting is that Kylian Mbappe was on the bench, to actually, and it proved to be a detriment of the result, as Paris Saint-Germain failed to win a third consecutive Ligue 1 match, right? So PSG hosted Reims in the 25th round of the French Ligue 1, and the star forward of the Parisian team, Kylian Mbappe, who will leave the club at the end of the season, therefore plays less frequently, and he started the match on the bench once again. So the teams had an entertaining first half, each scoring 2 goals in each other nets. Reims took the lead as early as the 7th minute. However, by the 20th minute, the Parisian Giants not only equalized, but also took the lead first through Al-Bahamed, scored an own goal, and then Gonzalo Ramos, the Portuguese striker, put his team ahead. And it seemed like there was nothing, indicating a loss of points for the champions. However, Reims unexpectedly equalized with an effort from African Cup of Nations winner Oumar Diakite, in injury time of the first half. And then in the second 45 minutes of the game, we saw PSG started to increase the intensity. Sorry guys, the weather is really quite bad this side. So yeah, PSG started to increase the intensity. They increased the pressure on their opponents, but they couldn't get the goal, to actually snatch a late victory. Even the substitution of Kylian Mbappe in the 73rd minute of the game didn't help their cause. As the result, we look at the fact that Luis Enrique's team now have failed to actually win for a third consecutive match in the championship. However, PSG's lead, remains very comfortable because they are still 10 points ahead of their closest, pursuer, in second place. So, PSG are still very comfortable. They still really there's not much to actually say that, they're going to lose the lead or whatever. They will. They're going to win the league. You understand? They're basically the runaway leaders. And I guess it seems like PSG is gradually adjusting to playing without their star forward Kylian Mbappe, and it is increasingly giving him less playing time in Ligue 1, right? Because the forward, informed the club president that he does not plan to extend his contract with the French champions. The team's head coach Luis Enrique has been more inclined to leave him on the bench or substitute him during matches. Currently the 25th round match of the French Ligue 1, resulted in a 2-2 draw where PSG, drew at home to Reims. And Kylian Mbappe started the game on the bench. He did not appear on the field, during the first half. He only came on in the 73rd minute of the game. So those are some of the things that are very interesting. But it is actually important of note that, he needs to play in the Champions League, as PSG did qualify for the quarterfinals, and we are waiting to see who they will be facing, in the quarterfinals of this year's UEFA Champions League.